Three great speakers, and we're just getting started. We're going to take a short break for lunch, and then we're going to have a working lunch because we have so much to go and have some pizza. But before lunch, first I just want to thank our last speaker. I mean, we have a program, and we hope to have it as mature as PEP one day. And I'm working with fourth graders and fifth graders. That's a whole different animal we haven't touched yet. I mean, I could not tell you how impressed I am with the Peace Education Program. You're really quite lucky in Louisville to have it. Now, as I mentioned, peace is sort of in Kentucky's DNA for some reason. And to add that point, we've just received a letter from a special person at the University of Louisville. His name is Rick Pitino. And I think we have another Louisville Cardinal fan here who's going to read it, if that's okay, and then we'll take a short break. All right, ready? Want to try it? Here we go.
Dear YouthAlert, participate. Thank you for the invitation to participate in your War Against Violence program, but your game started prohibits me for participating in person. I applaud you for the efforts in sinking the image violence through our state. I am often talk to our players about the value of life and why it's about to make wise decisions not only for their future but also for the future of their families. There are so many opportunities for young people to accomplish their time, whether it's athletes, music, being involved in school, organized or religious groups, or other productive offerings. As parents, we need to make sure we are standing as act and our children live as well and set the right example for them to follow. Some of the players may come from challenging neighborhoods, and although it's not easy to escape negative influence, it comes back to making the right choice. I believe there are many young people who work hard, overcome difficult situations, and choose the right path. Peace wish to your friends in your comment to reducing violence. Sincerely, Rick Pitino.
We got one last speech before we take a break. Say hi. Say hi to your mom.
Hi, Mama.
Okay. Break time.
I love Louisville.
to have a working lunch session. Hope you're enjoying lunch. We got nice healthy food, pizza, cookies, soda, and salty snacks. I think I'm going to hear from the Louisville Health Department. Dr. Nesbitt is going to, anyway. But we have new and upcoming violence prevention organization here in Louisville. And talk about a subject that is very important, Kentucky. Kentucky is one of the few states without a dating violence protection law. So this next group is called PAC in Action, which is going to talk about dating violence. I mean, it could not be a more important topic in Kentucky right now. And I know there's a lot of people mobilizing to do some legislation in the in General Assembly. So you'll probably be hearing a lot about it. And here is some of our local people who are going to be the future stars of violence prevention. So they are called PAC in Action, which is Park Hill, I can't read it, California teams. Come on up and fix my mistakes on the spelling. You need 2 mics? I'll get one. And come on up. Oh, okay. First of all, introduce yourselves because I didn't have you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you all so much for being here today. Like he said, we are PACT in Action, and that stands for Park Hill, Algonquin, and California Teens in Action. My name is Eric Kleppe, Montenegro. I'm the youth coordinator for the program. The lead director, Kalila Collins, couldn't be here today because her neighborhood got iced in. But luckily, I am joined by one of the members of our youth advisory board here today. So Talia here has actually been a member of PACT in Action for even longer than I have. So you know, we've been hearing a lot about how the youth learn from the lessons and the precedents set by adults. But a big principle we use is about how the youth actually learn from each other and how the adults and older folks can learn so much from the youth. So me being a member of PACT in Action, I've learned so much from our youth advisory board since coming on, and not just about what it's like to be a young person in society today, but about life in general. So I know a lot of people are still coming up, or some people are still eating, some people are still working on that food in their bellies. So I thought we could do a little something to warm everything up. Since it's so cold outside, it's all iced out. So I'm going to need y'all to repeat after me. Can you say, "We're young and preventing it"? We're young and preventing it. We're young and preventing it. All right, Talia, go with me. And the next part is, say no to dating violence and make the right decision. All right, we're going to put that together. Talia's going to back me up on this. Ready? 2, 3, 4. We young and preventing it. We young and preventing it. Say no to dating violence and make the right decisions, right? So, as it's already been explained, PACT in Action is a teen dating violence prevention program. So what exactly does that mean? That means a lot of things to different people. But one of the ways that we do this is by going out into the community at events like this and directly engaging our community. And one thing that we think is really important at all kinds of events like these is more youth presence and more youth voice. So that's why it's so important to have Talia up here speaking today. And we're so grateful to be welcomed at this event coordinated by YouthAlert. So like I said, my name is Eric Montenegro. I'm a second generation immigrant. My mom came to the United States from Colombia to get an education here in the United States, and I'm a product of my environment. And when I hear ya, like we've been talking about Youth Alert, when I hear ya, in my head that means now. In Spanish, ya means now. So that makes me think about, what are we doing now? What's already going on, right? So we talk about what we can do in the future, but there's so many things that are already going on right now that are working to prevent violence and to create more healthy and just societies. So another thing about ya is at Take Back the Night, we brought a lot of youth members from Pact in Action to a thing called Take Back the Night, which is basically a rally and a protest against domestic violence, intimate partner violence. And when we were there, the kids learned about a phrase in Spanish, which goes, ya no más. Can I hear that from everybody? Ya no más. And that means no more, right? But it means no more now. So that's a part of what we're doing. Every day we go out into the community, we're denouncing violence, and we're proposing solutions with new ways how to relate to each other, how to have healthy relationships, and have a healthy and just society, right? Because we all know that having healthy and just relationships is about more than just people relating to each other on an individual level, right? There are a lot of structural elements that lead to violence. There are things that create conditions of violence. So, you know, we operate within the 40210 area code, Park Hill, Algonquin, and California. And a lot of times when we tell people that we operate in that area code specifically, some people will say, oh, well, that's good because, you know, there's a lot of violence going on there. And that's true, but there's a lot of violence going on across the whole city, right? And there's a lot of violence across the whole country. And, you know, I've had the pleasure of being able to follow up brilliant men who have already been talking about the different conditions which lead to violence in the community. But what we talk about when talking about our neighborhood is risk and protective factors. So that's not to say that, that people in our communities are somehow more inherently violent, because they're not. It's just that the socioeconomic conditions in our area means there's more risk factors for violence. So we work to reduce those risk factors which lead to violence, and then raise the amount of protective factors to reduce the incidence of violence. So we do that in a lot of different ways, and but what we're doing is fundamentally investing in the potential of the youth. Because what we teach is that all the youth have the voice inside of them, they have the vision inside of them to make that happen. And we don't necessarily need to empower the youth, because they have the power already. And we just want to bring out that power that they have so they can be the agents of change to change their communities. So, go ahead. So just how the brother said earlier, Ubuntu, I am because we are, our project is completely dependent on everything else that's going on in the community, right? We're only to get where we are as an organization because of how far the community has gotten as a whole. So like Talia said, we have our weekly meetings at Bridges of Hope on Algonquin. And we bring our programs to existing community centers like the California Community Center, like St. George Community Center. We go into the schools like Central High School and Iroquois High School, right? And we're only as strong as the entire community is, right? So our program is made up of youth from the community, and without all these spaces that we go into, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So our partnerships are extremely important, and we have lots of partnerships with organizations like PAL, like Peace Ed, which has educated a lot of the youth in our program, like the Mayor's Office and the Safe and Friendly Neighborhoods program. Anthony Smith, who spoke earlier, has always been a supreme supporter of our program and has really given us a lot of the connections which we need to be out there doing what we do. So when it comes to our work, we use a model that we call the socio-ecological model, which means that we look at the entire environment, and we start from the smallest element, which is the individual. So we work with the individuals, we sit down with the youth and talk with them directly, and then we constantly expand out from the individual. So from the individual, we work on the relationships. And from the relationships, we work with the families and communities, and ultimately, we work on the entire society, right? Because we know that, unfortunately, we live in a society which is dominated by violence, right? So, and we can talk with the kids individually as much as we want about how to be safe, how to be helpful, how to respect each other, but if the society at large isn't supporting them in doing that, if they don't have opportunities to do that, and if they're not getting rewarded for that kind of positive behavior, then we can't make that change that's needed on the long term, right? So we use something that's called the spectrum of prevention, in which we break down all the different factors in that which come into play. And Talia here has been working on talking with people about the spectrum of prevention. So she's going to talk to you about the different factors that come into play.
The first part of our violence prevention spectrum is influencing policy and legislation, and we do that every year by going to the Youth Advocacy Day, and that is in Frankfurt, and we go and talk to Representative Meek, and we try to influence him to pass a bill about preventing teenage violence. And that bill is saying that the bill will allow teens to be able to get restraining orders against partners who are potentially dangerous to them. So we want teens to be able to have the right to get a restraining order against somebody who could hurt them, because right now teens are not allowed to get restraining orders against their partners, and we really need that because it's only allowed to people who are 18 and older, and you have to be inside a relationship for a certain amount of time. But the truth is that somebody can hurt you even if you've only been dating for a few months. So you need to be able to be protected ahead of time. So the teenagers really need that. So we do that on our Youth Advocacy Day, and that's how we influence the policy and legislation. And the next thing that we do to prevent teenage violence is we change the organizational practices of certain places, and we do that by educating organizations such as the Safe Place, and we teach them about what teenage violence is and what they should do to help teens who are going through teenage violence, and what they can do to support those kids who are enduring teenage violence relationships. And the other thing that we do is we foster coalitions and networks with other organizations inside the community, such as the Child Coalition, and that just means that we try to build friendships with other groups who work with teens, because our ultimate goal is to reduce teen dating violence and to actually make a difference, and to just we just want to eliminate this issue, but we cannot do it unless we work with our community. And then we educate providers and teachers about what teen dating violence is, so that way whenever they have students who are going through teen dating violence, they can address the issue and go about it in the right way. We promote community education by having our conversation cafe, by giving speeches like this, so that we can alert everybody on what teen dating violence is, so that we can give you our information on how to prevent the issue. We also strengthen individual knowledge and provide skills that will help to prevent teen dating violence by having our weekly meetings that educate teens about what teen dating violence is. So, thank you.
So, yeah, let's give a round of applause to Talia. All right, so what Talia was just explaining, we call that the spectrum of prevention. And that means that our efforts to prevent teen dating violence have to be on all social levels, right? So on the most fundamental level, we're investing in the youth as individuals to make sure that they have the knowledge, the skills, and the experience that they need to be active agents of social change in the community and be representing other people just like them, completely independent of people like me or people like Kalila, right? Because at the end of the day, people like Talia and the young boys that were up here earlier, that's the future of Louisville, right? And if we don't invest in them and make sure that they're in good hands and that they have self-determination and control of their conditions, then we have no guarantee for what the future is going to be like. But beyond those individual skills, we have to work with service providers, community organization, and policy and legislation. So she was just talking about the teen dating violence legislation that's going to be voted on in January. And it's a sad thing to say, but Kentucky is the only state in the nation which provides absolute zero support for teenagers who have been in abusive relationships, right? So you can only get a protective order unless you've been married, living together, or have children with someone. And obviously, this does not apply as much in teen dating violence situations or even for college students, right? And Kentucky is the only state with nothing. So as much as we hear from politicians that they genuinely care about reducing violence, actions speak louder than words. And we've seen people vote, we've seen the same bill come up to the floor over 5 times only to get voted down over and over and over again, right? So we're going to Frankfurt in January to talk directly with the people who are supposed to be voting and let them know that as representatives, they're failing to represent our community and they're failing to represent the young people who are the future of this community. And we believe that if they found themselves in similar conditions as the young people which we represent, then they would know that this is important to pass, right? Unfortunately, people like Rand Paul and Mitch McConnell have even voted down the Violence Against Women Act before, right? And these are all very fundamental bills which make sure that everyone in our society is protected from some of the worst forms of violence and oppression which people can experience, right? So we want to support the youth, and we want to make sure that they know that the infrastructures and the institutions work for them and that they're actually representing them. And when they're not, we need to work to change that. So that's a part of what we do. And we work on all levels, like we said. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now I would like to talk about myself and tell you why I got involved with Pact in Action. This is one of my favorite stories because I hope to be a legend one day, and I would like to be a living legend now. So I would like to say, I want to inform you all that I go to Assumption High School. In my sophomore year, I applied for the Mary Byron Scholarship, and the Mary Byron Scholarship was started because there was a woman named Mary Byron, and she went to Assumption, and she lost her life due to teen dating violence. And her mother started a scholarship program because she wanted to prevent teen dating violence. I applied for the scholarship and I was rejected. And there were other reasons why, but either way go, like I prospered and I became a part of Pact in Action. And I just wanted you to know that I am a youth who has lots of ambition and drive, and I really want youth around me to be inspired and to be leaders like myself. And I would also like to share with you that PAC stands for Park Hill, Algonquin, and California Teens, and we are mobilizing to prevent teen dating violence. And I lived inside Park Hill several years ago, and so I just know what it is like to live inside a neighborhood that is not safe, and I know what it is like to hear the shootings at night and just to be inside a neighborhood that's not beautiful, to be inside a place where you can't look out and say, okay, you know, that's a hero, or okay, I'm going to look up to the person that lives next door to me. So it says a lot to just, it's a lot for me to be able to go back to my community and help somebody, because now I don't live in Park Hill, and I live, like my mother owns the house that we live in, and it's just been a wonderful transformation for me, and I am so privileged to be able to go back and to help my community. And I would also like to say that PAC stands for Park Hill, Algonquin, and California Teens. And after I lived in Park Hill, we moved to Bowling Avenue. And so that is like the California neighborhood. And that was once again like we had to deal with the violence that just came with living inside that neighborhood. And you just witness things that you can't control. And being a part of Pact in Action has given me the privilege to go back and give back to my community and to make a difference inside a place that was not the best. So I'm grateful and thank you for all of your support.
Before concluding, I would like to say, just like Talia pointed out, that we want to invest in the youth so that they can be the living legends of tomorrow and today, right? So Talia Dallas can be the next Muhammad Ali, right? And our younger sister here, Trinity Dallas, who's in the building, can be the next Nelson Mandela, right? So, like we said, we invest in the potential and the voice and the vision that is already within every single young person in our communities, and we work hard just to bring that out and to maximize that so they can be the best they are. And just like Nelson Mandela said, how institutions of racism and apartheid are man-made institutions and therefore can be taken apart by human beings, we see that poverty and sexism and sexual violence are all issues that were created by humans and therefore can be eliminated by humans. And since the youth are the future, they are the ones who will be breaking down those institutions so that we can have a just, healthy, and safe environment for all of us to grow in all our city. Thank you.
Well, I would say that zip code is in good hands.